this on yet? Looks like it. Okay. Well, hi there. It is 11:15. Time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And let's shit in the box. I spent, how long? I spent some time, 2 hours? Really? Holy shit, does that feel like they're trying to prevent you from asking for a refund? I spent 2 hours playing Ghostwire Tokyo today, which I bought on sale during the Steam Summer Sale because it bit me. Steam Summer Sale always bites me. The question is for how much. It was about $50 this time. About 50? About 50, yeah. Because it ended up being like the two Katamari Damacy games, the first one and the second one. The third one didn't go on sale. Or actually, I think it did go on sale, but it went on sale for like, you know, you get to save 50 cents or some such bullshit. It was a bullshit sale. So I didn't think it was enough of a discount to make it worth buying. Not when I could get the other two for $7.50 each. And I bought Dredge, which I've talked about a little, because it was $20. And I got Ghostwire Tokyo because Ghostwire Tokyo was on sale for 90% off. It was $6, and it's like, I did want to play it, and I don't exactly see it getting any cheaper than that. So I picked it up, and I hadn't gotten around to playing it until today. And I think I've gotten to the part of the game where I'm done watching cutscenes and tutorials and can actually engage with the open world. But I was tired of playing. So I stopped. I'm not quitting. I'm going to go back and play it some more, but I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to do that. Like, probably not right away, because earlier today I also did my 46th Unity jump in Starfield. I have 5,000 hours in Starfield. Actually, I think I have 5,100 now. Let me go check real quick. Yes, 5,140.2 hours. And I've got 3,500 of them in the same save. So I'm really committed to like this one save file. And I just did Unity jump number 46. And I'm sitting right at the beginning of that because I did this jump because I wanted to kick some mods out of my load order. I wanted to get rid of McLarence's Outfitters because I don't really use any of the new legendary effects that it has in it. But I feel compelled to like deliver the 275 legendary pieces of kit to this guy who runs the store because there's a collection aspect to it. It's the whole number go up thing. And I got tired of stockpiling dozens and dozens of these pieces of equipment and taking them to this store and handing them over to this guy and, oh yeah, it's another thing. Oh yeah, it's another thing. Oh yeah, look, it's another thing. I'm just tired. I just don't want to do that anymore. So I kicked that mod out of my load order. I also kicked Falkland Systems out of my load order because, number one, it uses up a huge amount of the object ID space, like upwards of 100,000 IDs. And there are maybe 4 things in that whole mod that I need. So I didn't think that was worth it. And also, you gotta scroll for fucking ever when you go to the structural components, because I don't understand. I don't understand the logic that they have duplicated pretty much every structural component and branded it Falkland. Why? Why did you do that? Why did you crap up my menu with like so much additional shit? And then and I also had ASC Demos, which I liked because it allows you to buy the it allows you to buy the comm spike and the conduction grid even after the Crimson Fleet is destroyed. You still have to get to them in the storyline, but once you side against the Crimson Fleet, typically you now can't get those anymore. But in ASC Deimos, once you get there, they're available to buy at every Deimos manufacturer and at your outpost shipbuilders. You know, what I found was, when I get to that point of the Crimson Fleet storyline, I'm typically flying the only ship I'm ever going to fly again. So I may as well just put them on that ship and we're fine. We don't need to fuck around with other stuff. It's ridiculous. So I kicked that out of my list. I've got 5 mods in my list. One of them is the Trackers Alliance content, which is basically an official add-on to the game. It's basically how I look at it anyway. And the next one is the Starfield Spacer Overhaul, which is a really, really good mod. Like, it really adds more flavor to the game. It makes the spacers feel scary. So I like that, and I like using that. Zone 7-9 did an excellent job on it. The third thing that I'm using, I have Bethesda's Escape mission, which I'm still playing with it, but it's one of those things that you can only do it once per Unity jump, and I haven't done it enough times to experiment with all the things I want to experiment with. So there are still things I want to do. I'm going to keep it around for a while. And then there's Continuum. Continuum has a feature, once you've been through the mission string once, where you can pass credits through the Unity. If you're going to have the quantum entanglement device in the game, then this is essential, just being able to also pass credits through the game. So that's permanently in my mod order. I'm never throwing that out. It's too fucking useful. And finally, there is the Starborn Guardian 7 Plus. And the only reason I have that, I never fly the Starborn Guardian. The only reason I have that is so I get the little counter on the ship that tells me which Unity jump I'm on, which is how I know I just did my 46th jump. Anyway, that's where I'm sitting in Starfield, and I passed 1.1 million credits through. So by passing 1.1 million credits through, I can immediately go and buy a cool ship, and I'm kind of designing that in my head and figuring out which shipyards I need to go to make this happen. Because yeah, it's a little problematic because the way that I've built out the ship, there's like, I got to go to Tayo for some parts, and I got to go to Hope Tech for most of the parts. There's a couple of critical ones that are at Nova Galactic, and there's just a couple that I need at Tayo, and I think there's a couple I need at Stroud. I don't think there's anything I need to go to Deimos for. It drives me nuts that it's fucking Deimos. The word is Greek. It's Deimos. But they pronounce it Deimos in the game because everybody in the future is fucking stupid. Anyway, that's kind of that's the gaming I was doing today. I cut down a buttload of blackberries. That's par for the course these days. Every few days I have to go out and I have to like cut down a massive quantity of blackberries in one part or another of the property because they're just every fucking where. It's obscene how many fucking blackberries there are. But I have been doing a lot of thought about the layoffs of the game industry, and it really comes from nobody understands where the money comes from anymore. They imagine that there's this pool of money, and if you can make the money you spend smaller and you can make the money you make bigger, that you win. But a lot of what they did at Xbox a couple days back, a lot of what they did there is it's going to make the bottom line smaller. I say this over and over, but design adds value faster than it adds cost. And they cut a lot of designers and a lot of artists and a lot of the real deep magic programmers. And it really feels like, I don't know any of the numbers, of course, but it feels like what they were cutting was the people who made a lot of money. They were cutting the people with the highest salaries. Unless, of course, they could justify that high salary. And the problem is, they cut all of these people that didn't seem to be adding value to the game. It's like, what makes the game better if you have a great artist? More people buy your fucking game. That's what makes the game better. If you have a great artist working on your game, more people buy the fucking game. Because the way you get people to buy a game is to show them pictures of the game. And they go, oh, god damn, that's fucking gorgeous. I'm buying that game. Artists matter. They matter a lot. And what they do is fucking hard. That's one of the things that I really didn't understand when I first started like digging in and becoming an artist. Is when I first started digging in and doing art, I was just like, hey, you know, it's like anything else. It is not like anything else. I am a software developer, and as a software developer, I work in an industry where people say this is going to take me 2 weeks, and then they go and they look at it and they go, actually, I'll be able to do that in a day. And then they will fuck around for 2 weeks and not do it until the last day. Unfortunately, this typically means that you get to that final day and you find out it's more difficult than you thought it was going to be, and you actually need the whole 2 weeks, but now you only have a day and you're kind of fucked. This is why developers frequently end up working crunch time or unpaid overtime. And they complain about it and they bitch about it. And fundamentally, once you miss enough deadlines, you will get laid off. It does happen. Because we need somebody who can hit the deadlines, you know? I mean, that's kind of fucking important. As a PM, I'm willing to wait around a little while you learn to hit your deadlines. But if you're not learning and you keep blowing past deadlines like they don't matter, yeah, you're going to be out on the fucking street. A lot of the time I see people do that sort of shit. And people go, well, they did a good job. I don't know if they did do a good job. I have never known a person who got laid off for doing a shit job to say, oh yeah, I was doing a shit job. Never seen it happen, like ever. But anyway, what I was getting at was, when an artist says, this is going to take 2 weeks, they literally mean they're going to spend 80 hours working on this piece. I had no appreciation of that when I first started. I honestly did not fucking get how long rendering takes and how much work it is and how you could spend 7 hours doing a shoulder. One shoulder. It's insane. I mean, you can do a rough sketch and some flat colors and probably some decent line art in a day and a half, 2 days. But the actual rendering and shading and all of that, God, the amount of time, the amount of detail, the number of things you have to know, it's insane that anybody even tries to do this. And I had no appreciation of that as an artist. And I think a lot of people who don't write code, they have no appreciation of how hard code is to write. Which brings me to the thing I was talking about a couple of days ago, I think. How many steps have I gone down into the... Am I employing too much of a Zeigarnik effect here? That's the open loops. That's where you start talking about something, and then you start talking about something else, and you start talking about something else, and you pull somebody deep enough along, and they will listen to you forever. I don't know. I had somebody the other day, he said, I subbed when I saw what you said at 12 and a half minutes. You watched my video for 12 and a half minutes? Since when does that happen? I don't even look at my watch stats anymore because, like, for years, my average watch time was 1.5 minutes. And I'm like, nobody watches my shit. Literally, nobody watches it. They're just like, hey, let's see what this guy has to say. What a fucking idiot. And then they leave. I don't even look anymore. You can make yourself very unhappy looking at statistics. So don't. Just fucking don't. I think, what was I getting at there? The people running Xbox who fired all of these people, they fired a lot of people that were way less expensive than the value they brought to the team. People aren't numbers. People are not fungible. I mean, for God's sake, it's like, how long have we had this? We've had this like forever. It's right here. Right here. Right here on the bookshelf. Right here. You see that? You see that? Frederick Brooks, The Mythical Man Month. Adding more people to a late software product makes it later. We've known this shit. We've known it forever. Nobody cares. Nobody listens. Nobody actually knows how anything works anymore. They don't understand where the money comes from. And there's a way that Brooks looks at software development teams that I think is inaccurate because it was the 70s. He kind of imagines a programmer as a surgeon, and the surgeon has a team. And his team is also doctors, but they just do what the surgeon tells them to do and stay out of his way. I don't think that's an accurate representation of how a software team should work. And I think that object-oriented programming, which really came out in the early to mid-1980s, thanks to Bjarne Stroustrup's work on C++, I think that model where it's just everybody has their thing that they do better than anybody else but everybody kind of has their finger in a little bit of what everybody else is doing. Everybody kind of knows what everybody else's job is. They just kind of stick to their own section of it. And they don't concern themselves too much with that. They have the contract that the code makes with the other code, and they don't really need it. Proper object-oriented programming, you don't need to communicate too much about how your code works. You just go, hey, I need a way to get this information from your part of the code. And the other guy goes, oh yeah, that's a private member call, or a private method call, rather. That's a private method call. So I'll just make that public instead. Maybe clean it up a little bit and document it. Takes them like 10 minutes. And if you do object-oriented well, then a team can work together really, really well. And you can have like 8 surgeons on one project, and they don't need any assistance. And actually doing the assistance work is what makes you a better programmer. Doing the tedious, repetitive shit. Which, of course, is not what everybody wants to do now. They want to turn to the garbage farting computer machine for it. It's not a good idea. I don't recommend that. Especially if you're new. Especially if you just got out of university. Especially if you're still in university. If you're still in university, it is your job right now to do this tedious, repetitive shit so you know how to do it. Because when you get a job at a real company, they're going to tell you to do a bunch of tedious, repetitive shit. Because doing that tedious, repetitive shit several thousand times will make you a better programmer that they can tell to do other stuff. And if you make the machine do it, you're not going to become better. And when they tell you to do something bigger, you're not going to know how. So you're going to tell the machine to do it, and the machine's going to do a shit job. And you're not going to know because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. I see this stuff because it's less common. It was less common, but there always used to be that guy in your department who got all of his work done by copying shit off of Stack Overflow. But what you could do is you could go to IT and you could say, hey, I want you to give me the internet domain history for that office there. And they would give you a list of internet domains. And you would look at it, and if Stack Overflow was like 30% of it, you could sit there and go, yep, this guy's copy-pasting all of his shit. And that guy, if you gave him something important to do that he couldn't find on Stack Overflow, he would not do a good job. And that would be your excuse to get rid of him. Because you don't want these people. You don't want these people taking up your time and not doing a good job. It's all about trust. It's all about reliability. And regardless of whether you're copy-pasting your code off of the internet or stealing it off of GitHub or using the garbage farting computer machine to do it, if it's not your code, you're not building any kind of trust. If it's code that you wrote, if you've written code of similar quality 12 times in a row, I know you're going to write good code if I tell you to go and do something. If you've just been copying and pasting shit, I don't have any trust. I don't believe in your abilities. I don't even believe in your ability to find code that's already out there. Because if you don't know how to write the code yourself, how can you possibly tell whether the code you just got is good? How could you possibly know? knowing whether something is good is almost as hard as being good enough to do it yourself. Almost being the operative word. I'm good enough at art to look at other people's art and go, well, that's good and that's not. That's almost good enough for me to do my own art and have it be good. I have spent some time today going over the documentation for GDScript. I spent a fair bit of time on the website looking at it. And it is a very well-designed little language. It has a lot of useful bits and pieces into it. A lot of useful things have been built into GDScript that I just kind of look at it and I go, yeah, that makes sense for a special purpose language that absolutely focuses on game development. Like, both 2D and 3D vectors are like actual first-class data types. They're not compound data types. They're built into the language. I think that's fucking great. So I'm happy with a lot of the things that GDScript does. There's still some things that bug me about it. But it's stylistic. It's not anything technical. From a technical standpoint, they've added some stuff in here that I go, that's a really good idea. And honestly, their multi-threading implementation is so much faster and easier and less of a pain in the arse than C# that if you want to multi-thread something, GDScript is actually a better choice. So I am making progress on that front, but I'm not actually writing anything in it yet. I'm just kind of getting a picture of it. Anyway. I'm so fucking tired. I really am. So yeah, that's where things are. You know, do a little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And okay, bye.